Okay, so as you guys know now, I got the PlayStation Vita a couple of weeks ago. And being in the unique perspective of having both the Nintendo 3DS and the PlayStation Vita, I figure I'd be a really good person to ask in terms of what's the differences and which one is great for me. Well, I got both systems for specific reasons. So, as many of you guys know, I have 17 games for the 3DS, whereas in comparison, I only have two games for the, actually technically three games for the PlayStation Vita. Well, I've only had this system for about 3 weeks now, and I've had this game system for almost 3 years. So it would be a bit unfair to, given how long it's been since I've had each system, to really to really get a good gauge in terms of if the Vita how the Vita would end up to the 3DS. But I can only call it as I see it. So let's go over what both systems have in common. The 3DS has a camera on the inside and the outside. There's a two on these. The ones on the outside are for taking pictures and videos of things in 3D. And the one on the inside, which may be really hard to see, is for taking pictures of yourself. The PlayStation Vita has a camera. Right. Excellent. Right there. My finger's not covering, but you should see it right next to the triangle button. And the outer camera for taking pictures of stuff further away is right there, where my middle finger is. I wouldn't want to call your attention to the touchpad on the back of the PlayStation Vita. You can use that for a number of applications, though I've mostly just used it to navigate the main hub for the PlayStation Vita's interface. Like the PlayStation controllers, like the DualShock controllers, the PlayStation Vita also has two two joypads. Two control sticks, whatever you want to call them. The 3DS only has one, though for an additional $10 to $15, you can buy the CirclePad Pro. Me personally, I don't have the CirclePad Pro, nor do I feel the need to buy one, even though I am left-handed, but to each their own, I guess. Now, let's see. Oh, well, since it's not on, I can do this. Since I'm pretty sure those of you that have never seen a Vita in person are wondering what they run on, I don't mind doing this. Alright, so this is what a 3DS game card looks like. This is what a PlayStation Vita game card looks like. And yes, I'm intentionally holding them this way so you don't see what games they are. 3DS games today on the market run between $10 to $35. Well, actually, I should say $10 to $50 now because a $50 game was recently released. But usual average price range is between $10 to $40 for new 3DS games. PlayStation Vita is more or less the same. New, it's usually somewhere between, from what I've seen anyway, between $20 and $40. So there's not that much of a difference in terms of pricing for these games. Let's see. While I'm putting the games back in, both game systems support Netflix, though how they go about them is a little bit different. And since Netflix allows you to run their devices on up to two, lets you stream on up to 2 devices at a time, I'll show you that real quick. So, basically how Netflix works, I'm not going to open the application on my 3DS, but the movie plays on the top screen, but you can use the bottom screen for controls and things like that. If you heard a ding, someone on my friends list on my 3DS just came online. So now, opening my Vita, I just took I took the game out and it just reloaded the game. You got your Netflix, it's all on one screen. And in terms of which one I would use, if I had the choice of which one I'd prefer, believe it or not, despite the fact that the Vita obviously has the bigger screen, I would go with the 3DS, simply because not only am I familiar with it, but I can actually put the 3DS down and still watch it without worrying about straining my neck. Whereas the Netflix is good if, whereas watching on the Vita is good if, like, I'm, for example, right now just sitting in a chair. I just wanted to stare at a screen. But then again, I do have Netflix on my Xbox 360 as well as my Wii, so in terms of big screen versus small screen, I would obviously go with the big screen. But then again, if I'm in an airport somewhere, the audio quality when using headphones is just much better on the 3DS versus the PlayStation Vita when using Netflix for some reason. All I can say is it is what it is. Going under the hood in terms of apps, since I'm still holding my PlayStation Vita, the Vita has a Maps program. The Nintendo DS does. The 3DS does not. Just like the PSP before it, the PlayStation Vita, the Vita lets you run your own music and videos. You can only play your own music on the 3DS. On the Vita, you can download games from its online store and run them without using a game card. You can do that with the 3DS as well. The Vita has its own content manager, which you can use to either directly or remotely access music and videos on your computer. The 3DS does not, though the 3DS does use an SD card, which works with all three of my computers. The the Vita can be directly used as a PlayStation 3 controller. You can't say the same for the 3DS and the Wii or the Wii U. Let's see what else. The Vita has social media extensions for Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. While the 3DS has none of those, you can watch YouTube videos on your 3DS if you know what you're doing. That is, and it's legal without using homebrew software. The Vita doesn't have its own. The Vita and the 3DS does have its own browser, though. In the case of the 3DS, it's powered by Opera. The Vita's version has something similar to Street Pass called Near, which is actually something that you can use to see what people around you are playing, even if you've never met them before. I'm not going to open mine, but all I'm going to say is it's pretty fancy. And of course, there's the staple Photos app that you can use to take pictures as well as see the pictures you've taken. So now that we've gone through the software difference, the software that the Vita has, let's take a look at the 3DS. Cool. So the 3DS does have a download play, which you can use to download demos under certain specific outside of the eShop. As I mentioned when I was holding the Vita, you can listen to your own music as well as record your own voice. Which, by the way, the recording voice thing is something that the Vita doesn't offer. Then again, but that should be apparent when you quickly figure out that the Vita doesn't have a microphone, whereas the 3DS does. The Mii's program, which was introduced with the Nintendo Wii, Microsoft has an equivalent called Avatars, has an Avatar equivalent, but the Sony brand does not. Augmented reality. Nintendo still has a stranglehold on that, even though the Vita was supposed to have introduced that. I haven't really been seeing much of that going on. The Vita, not the Vita. The 3DS allows you to make folders on your hub screen. You can't do that with the Vita. Both the 3DS and the Vita, this is something that's interesting to note, allow you to have multiple programs open at the same time. So, like for example, you can start up a game on the Vita, suspend it, and then go do something else, while keeping that first program open. The 3DS is limited to only doing that within 2 instances. When we're using one of the programs, and you can suspend one of those and then go into the browser or your friends list and do one of those functions. In terms of downloads, the eShop on the 3DS did an update a couple of months ago, so that you can buy multiple things off the eShop, set them to download later, close your 3DS, put it down somewhere, and when you open it again later, all of your programs will be downloaded in one shot. So no more only being able to download one thing at a time. The Vita doesn't do that. I mean, yeah, they all download it instantly as soon as you confirm the purchase, but in that sort of sense, not only do you have to download it with the Vita, but you also have to install it. With the 3DS, once you download it, you're good to go. You can just launch the program and you're all set. Both online stores for the 3DS and the Vita use real currency. So if you use American dollars, you're using American dollars in both of these things, online stores. Okay, let me turn that off just because that sounds really annoying. In terms of graphics, I'd say they're about the same. I mean, I was playing Mortal Kombat for the PlayStation Vita, and I didn't really see a lot of differences between that and Super Street Fighter 4 for the 3DS in terms of graphics comparison. And yes, I have both games. In terms of sound quality, for some reason the 3DS is louder, even though it's obviously smaller than the Vita. And I'm going to hold it next to each other so you can see the difference. Though the 3DS does, the Vita does have a bigger screen. I mean, obviously the 3DS has 2 screens, and the Vita only has 1. And it's interesting to note that the entire screen for the, I don't want to put the stylus in the 3DS so I don't lose it. The entire screen for the Vita, the PlayStation Go fits inside of it. So literally, that's how big the 3D, the Vita is in comparison to its immediate predecessor, the PlayStation Go. Whereas with the comparing the 3DS to the DS Lite, they're about the same size. But if you were to compare that to the Game Boy Advance, obviously the Game Boy Advance is almost half the size of both of those systems. In terms of portability, the 3DS fits comfortably in your pocket. The Vita, not so much. All I can say is it is what it is. When I do travel, I keep the Vita in my carrying case, since it's too big to fit in my pocket. And I can still carry this in my pocket, carry my 3DS in my pocket, so I'm able to get tags from people with both systems at the same time. And in terms of pricing, and yes, I purposely held this out for last because I know this is going to be something that a lot of folks, that's going to be a sticking point for a lot of folks. Excuse me. When I originally got the 3DS, I got it on the day it launched for $250. And nowadays, you can get this for $170. Though if you were to get it pre-owned, you can get it for $130. And that's excluding bundles with other games, of course. The PlayStation Vita comes in two flavors: the $300 3G Wi-Fi version, and the $250 Wi-Fi version. This is the Wi-Fi version. And I only paid $185 for this game at a secondhand store in downtown Boston. And no, it wasn't GameStop. In terms of which game system has the better lineup, I would say that would be a very unfair thing to ask, considering the 3DS again has been out almost a year and a half longer than the Vita was. Though, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I do have 17 games for the Vita. I mean, for the 3DS, and only 2 games for the Vita. I bought the Vita for specific games, just like I bought the 3DS for specific games. So, as a lot of gamers often say on GameFAQs, GameSpot, and a lot of other game websites, people buy game systems for specific games. All of the games that I've bought for both systems so far are games that I was specifically looking for. I bought the Vita for a couple of games coming up, including Valhalla Knights 3. I have Valhalla Knights 1 and 2 for the PSP, and I wanted to get the 3rd game. Honestly, the only game left in this system that I'm looking forward to right now is Super Smash Bros. That's basically it. I'm pretty much, once I have that, I'm set. set. I mean, I showed you Flash this thing earlier. I bought this at Anime Boston, and I've already started to rebuild a lot of the games that I used to have, not including Pokemon, of course. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna put this video up on my blog so that you guys can check it out, along with putting it on its own page. Because to me, the whole which one is better is complete garbage. I mean, if you're getting the system for specific games, who cares? It doesn't matter. I mean, really. I mean, people that like play certain games will obviously buy the PlayStation, and people that are looking for certain games will obviously buy the Vita, and people that are looking for certain games for this system will buy this system. I mean, I do want to issue a bit of a disclaimer. Even though I have all these game systems, I am by no means well off. I just look for a good deal in stores. That's how I end up with all these game systems and games. Yeah, that's basically it. So if you agree or disagree with anything that I've said in this video, you know what to do. But all in all, the whole the whole 3DS versus PlayStation Vita debate thing is just pointless and meaningless dribble from fanboys of either side. I mean, obviously I have games from multiple companies, so the whole fanboy thing doesn't really apply to me. But I buy game systems for the games, not because of who made it. Well, anyway, you know what I mean. I'll see you guys in another video, so there you go. Take care, everybody, and once again, if you have Animal Crossing for the 3DS, check my blog post if you would like my codes to trade with me, etc. And if you ever want to play Mortal Kombat with me on this game, I'm always available. Take care, everybody.